Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live Recruiting Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. Today is Wednesday, June the 11th, 2025 for you. It is Tuesday evening, June the 10th, same year, 2025 for us. Keep that in mind moving forward, as we absolutely will say and use today's, tomorrow's, and yesterday's. All right, folks, got a fantastic show for you this week. Fantastic because we are right in the heat of the battle. The recruiting battles are ongoing. Official visits are in full bloom, much like the azaleas were back in April. Hey! So we're gonna get to some talk about the weekend that was. We're going to talk about the week that is and the weekend that will be. Here to do it as they are 100% of the time when they're here. They're here. Mr. Cole Pinkston, Sir Allen Head. How about you, boys?
How about you?
Yeah, I bet you, everybody. How we doing tonight?
I'm out of breath.
I'm not having a lot of fun right now, Alan.
It was
the job has its ups and downs.
It was a tough pre-show, Cole. I can say that. Maybe a tough past couple of days.
It's been a tough week.
Yeah, it has.
Intel's just not lining up. Happens, doesn't it?
Check that out, Big Dog.
It does.
I mean, is that normal? Like, that's summer attire, right?
When you got that little extra, no undershirt.
Are you heading off to the supper club?
Yeah. Look at that hamburger meat hanging out. Look at real Miami.
I heard Bush is back, baby.
And we have now segued into Auburn Live After Dark.
All right, we're going to get started. We're going to talk about that weekend that was. It was a fantastic weekend for Auburn recruiting. It really was. We're going to talk about that. Before we do, you see I'm rocking my Albee Roback. Cole and I have the honor to rock the Albee Roback. If you're not familiar with Roback, there's only one way to describe it. One way. Best fit and best feel. One way. For those who aren't familiar with Roback, they're completely changing the game with their incredibly comfortable activewear. Roback has released so many items within their new licensed game day collection, and it's our favorite. I got a rat in my pocket. Our favorite. With novel polo designs and clean hoodie and Q-zip designs for some of your favorite schools, it's definitely worth checking out. Absolutely. Nobody else on the market is sparing these levels of custom designs with this quality of activewear. Roback's everyday shorts or their Delta Performance pants are the perfect pairing as well. They're both super comfortable, have an elastic waistband and great fabric, fantastic fabric. That is made to have the appearance of a nice short look, the pants and the shorts, but the comfort for a day on the move. Roback has been proudly leading the NIL charge, having signed partnerships with multiple college football stars, past and present, and are becoming the go-to brand for college athletes across the country. As always, we've got you covered with a little promo this week. Use the promo code AUBURN20, AUBURN20 on Roback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with the promo code AUBURN20. Appreciate Roback coming on. I think they've got, Cole and I, we have the Albee. I think they have a Jordan Hare. Is that right, Cole?
Yeah, they do. They have a Tumor's Corner, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, but they're just so like soft, dude.
I say Tumor's Corner. I think it's like the tree with toilet paper.
Sure, okay. Feels really good against my skin. It really does. Kind of silky, right?
No undershirt tonight?
No, man. I'm rocking the Magnum PI, big dog.
I like it.
You can't do an undershirt in the summer, right?
Yeah, I had one on. I was like, nah, man, this ain't
I don't do undershirt. Period. Listen, wearing my military uniform, man. Like
Oh yeah,
yeah, required there.
Sure.
All right, fellas, let's talk about the weekend that was. I'm going to share. We're going to look back at some of these big visits that were that went on. Let's see how to do this. That bet good. Share the screen, George. Here we go. This is how big of a weekend it was. You had Emmanuel Iheanacho. You had Nolan Wilson. You had Jace Matthews, J.C. Anderson, Marquez Daniel, Claude Puma, Xavier Tiller, Eric Perry. Picked up a commitment from Eric Perry. What was it, Monday around noon? The running back, unheralded running back. Actually, he's a quarterback athlete, but committed to Auburn on Monday. And then Auburn also added, who was it, Jalen Scott from the 2027 class?
That's correct.
Yeah, that guy's a stud, man.
Stud.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of pull down in that area too for that 2027 class down in Mobile. I think that's a huge get for Auburn.
Listen, it needs to be celebrated, but it's also difficult to jump up and down repeatedly for a 2027 recruit. We're just being real here. Holding on to somebody that long is very difficult. Now he's in state, Williamson. That's good. That helps. So you'd rather have him committed than trying to get him from somewhere else. It's a good thing. It's just tough to feel great about.
Yeah, it's 2027. Like hoorah! Almost like Denarius Gray. A year ago.
Yeah, who remains committed. So
and Hezekiah Harris.
Yes,
remains committed, and Tootle.
All of them. We'll see. Has Denarius been on his OV yet?
No.
His is this weekend, June 13th.
Yeah, he's visited unofficially. He came up for a day trip, and that's been about it as of late from him.
Let's see. He's coming in June 13th?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a big visit to me.
All right, well, takeaways from this past weekend, fellas.
I think hearing some of the things that you've heard from the top targets, guys like Claude Puma, J.C. Anderson, Jace Matthews, you pulled a commitment coming out of this weekend, all positives. I think what I've also gotten from this weekend because of a handful of commitments, one of which was Corey Wells, who visited here, who we felt good about. I think what I'm trying to do is maybe do a better job of sifting through intel right now and making sure that I feel very comfortable about where I stand or where Auburn stands with certain people, just because I think there's more of a hesitation factor right now with Auburn than I initially anticipated. And I thought, Jeffrey, you put this extremely well on Josh Newberg's show, where there's a possibility that Auburn is not on the receiving end right now of a lot of commitments in the normal commitment season of July and August. I think that's a fair assessment. I still believe Auburn will get probably about another 7 commitments, be around 14 or so prospects rolling into the season. And they've done a really good job. I think what this kind of weekend reinforces to me is this staff knows how to recruit.
Yeah.
But until there's some, there's some positivity on the field and they're showing a winning product, I think that's maybe what it will take to get to land some of these commitments. But the good thing is you positioned yourself well. You're in a good position to flip kids during flip season, and you have to lay the groundwork to do that. And I think that's what was accomplished, or my big takeaway from this weekend is you laid some really, really good groundwork with a lot of players. Even though it may not manifest into commitments right away, I think down the road it could pay dividends.
Cole, what were some of your big? I just running down this list right here. Emmanuel Iheanacho. I said this to Newberg. I loved his transparency. He left. He was like, "Listen, Auburn. I like Auburn. I'm coming back to Auburn, no matter what happens on August the 5th. He's going to announce. Obviously not to Auburn." And he basically said that no matter what happens on August the 5th, and I'm not going to commit to Auburn. It's basically what he's saying. I'm still going to come back. It's still not going to be over until December. Nolan Wilson, I'm gonna give you some highlights here, Cole, and you kind of tell me what kind of stuff. Nolan Wilson said Auburn was up there with Alabama, equal with Alabama. Jace Matthews, Chad Simmons came out on Tuesday and said he feels like Auburn after that weekend is the team to beat for Jace Matthews. J.C. Anderson's got Auburn, Ole Miss, and
Illinois.
Sources close to him think it's Auburn, Ole Miss. He's supposed to take a North Carolina visit this weekend. We'll see if that happens. Marquez Daniel, the wide receiver up the street, is going to Florida this weekend. Is Auburn or Florida for him? So you're looking at every guy except for Iheanacho. Nolan Wilson, top 2. Jace Matthews, top 2. J.C. Anderson, top 2. Marquez Daniel, top 2. Claude Puma, he said they're top 3 and they're not 3. So there you go, top 2 for him. Xavier Tiller, Chad Simmons, and all of us feel like Auburn leads for Xavier Tiller. And then Eric Perry got the commitment. So, you're going through that entire list of 8 visitors, and 7 of them Auburn is publicly not we feel good about, or sources are saying publicly they're top 2 for every one of them except for Iheanacho, and they're number 3.
That's where you got to be right now. Yes. Honestly, it sounds awful. Finishing second place is the first loser, but not in recruiting anymore. At least
when it comes to flip season, isn't it? When they come to flip season, you've moved up to number 1.
No, you being the runner-up in June is not a bad thing necessarily. Now, I'm not trying to spin it. Auburn's having a rough time trying to get some commitments right now, I think, because I think a few guys have flown off the board that they really wanted to get in the class. Doesn't mean it's over with those guys, but, you know, it didn't go the way you wanted to right now. With the ones that visited, I wrote, I guess it was Sunday night or Monday morning, that I felt like Auburn's had an edge for Jace Matthews for a while, and I think they still have it. I think Auburn's got an edge there. Boy, it feels like you're really sticking your neck out there right now, Alan, to say Auburn's got an edge for somebody.
Yeah, it does, Cole. And I don't mean to laugh. This is not at your expense. It's just I feel the pain. Okay.
Well, what I think it is, you know, we're still getting intel from the same sources.
Mm-hmm.
And these same sources are up against something they haven't faced yet. Right? They're just not – they're in a different place than they have been this entire tenure at Auburn, where their back's against the wall. They got to get to the season. I mean, we've seen it before, just not with this staff.
Correct.
Because they were still able to sell, like Jeffrey said, hope. They were still able to sell things in the past 2 seasons. This year's different. Auburn's fan base is kind of got their arms crossed, got a frown on their face about things. And recruits know that stability is a big deal, and Auburn won't play around if it looks anything like it did a year ago. If they don't get something going on the field, it doesn't matter. So I think our sources are dealing with a little bit of a different situation right now. We got to weed through that a little bit, but I do feel pretty comfortable saying Auburn's got an edge for Jace Matthews. I think Auburn might have a slight edge for J.C. Anderson. I agree with you, Jeffrey. Ole Miss, Auburn, maybe Illinois is trending down. Those two trending up. I think Auburn's surging and potentially has taken the lead there. And he may not wait long. He might decide to make a decision here pretty soon, depending on that North Carolina visit, right? Yeah. Marquez Daniel, I literally made a post on the board as we're doing this. I think he's trending to Florida just a touch. Don't think Auburn's out of it. I don't know how quick he wants to make a decision, but I would give the Gators an edge right now. He's got an official visit at Florida this weekend. I think they could close the deal for now. Auburn will continue to recruit him. Obviously, he's right down the road. Claude Puma. Intel looks good there. I think Auburn might be in the lead there. Vontrell King-Williams has a good relationship. Jake Thornton's had a good relationship with him. He comes in. He says Auburn's top 2. I believe him.
Yeah.
I think that he really does like Auburn. I think he feels at home there. I think they've done a good job of that and stress the need.
Who would you put as the other player at the top of his recruitment? Would
That's
you go ahead,
great
Jeff.
question. No, that's exactly what I was thinking.
It's hard to say. I almost think it's Nebraska or Wisconsin.
Whiskey.
I was thinking Nebraska. It feels like they've invested a lot of time and energy into him, just from what I've been able to glean. But I don't know that. That's the thing to me there's a little ambiguity with him in that I don't know who the other team at the top is. Florida's another team that's obviously been in the conversation, though they don't seem to be as much right now as they were. So I would agree with that. Probably Wisconsin or Nebraska.
What are y'all thinking
to Gators Online, Puma's going to be in Florida this weekend, and
yeah. So maybe they are relevant in the conversation after this visit.
Very, very much could be. Not counting Florida out of anything right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're hot.
They're kind of they're a hot program. They had a nice little season last year and showed so much progress. You know, secured Billy Napier's spot there for now. DJ Lagway's coming back up. They're hot. And that's showing right now. But the thing about this is the season dictates so much, man. If that's the case, if that's the reason why Florida's hot, it's because they had a good season last year. Anything can happen this season. Anything. So much can change. Opinions will change. Leaders will change. Commitments will change. I'm not panicking or anything. I think Auburn's missed on something they need to get, but we got a long way to go here.
Tiller, he went to Alabama, and I think he's going to, is that it?
No, he's going to Florida State this weekend.
I was going to ask what y'all are feeling on that one.
All right.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Evan Jacobson was supposed to come in for an official visit this weekend. He no longer is. He's out. I feel like him and J.C. Anderson are a lot alike. Evan Jacobson, J.C. Anderson. And I like where Auburn stands right now with J.C. I like where Auburn I think Auburn takes Tiller, even with Caden Prother on campus as we speak.
I think it'll end up being that way.
I agree. And that's something I've said for a while. When we've answered these questions on the podcast, it's who are the most attainable, or who do you picture in this class? And if I'm giving two names, it's always been Xavier Tiller and J.C. Anderson. And J.C. Anderson because I like the matchups.
Yeah.
Illinois, Bert Bielema does a great job. Bert Bielema.
You've been on the quarter too long.
I have. Brett does a great job with that program, but they don't recruit in the top echelon, right? They're not a program that scares you from a recruiting standpoint. Ole Miss, they do a great job, but apples to oranges, I think that Auburn can recruit as well, if not better than Ole Miss. So I've liked that matchup for a while. Now, my question to you two is this, because I think you have the tight end board pegged a little bit better than me. Do you think they want to take one or two? And if it's two, then I think they can get both of these kids. If it's one, I start to question things.
Two.
Yeah, me too.
You think it's two?
Two high school guys.
Yep.
If it's two, then I think they land both. I think they'll do what they need to do to land both.
And we know they're losing Frazier. What is Howard? Is he? I can't remember. He's a senior?
He's a junior.
Okay, he's a junior. And then you're freshman after him, and Ricardo's gone.
You just don't have many in that room.
You don't, and you're probably still going to go get a portal tight end after. You got Tate Johnson in the room,
right? I think of the three guys at the top of the board right now: J.C. Anderson, Caden Prother, Xavier Tiller. I like Auburn getting two of those guys.
Okay,
and I think the most likely of the two are J.C. Anderson and Xavier Tiller. And listen, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know, man. J.C. Anderson, let me tell you something. He's been to Auburn. He's from Illinois. He's been to Auburn 4 or 5 times. He brought his entire family with him this past weekend. He wanted them to see Auburn. He wanted to see what the fuss was about. And I was surprised that he made it sound like, Cole, if you were over there, he made it sound like that was kind of their first time that he wanted to show them what the fuss was about.
Do you remember the tight end that they were targeting a little bit, Max Sutter?
Yeah.
I believe JC came to 2 games with that guy.
Okay.
Or I know he came to 1. I think his first game was with him. They came together, and then I think they came again like a couple weeks later. Because I remember interviewing both of them, and they were together. So I think that this was really his folks' first time getting to see Auburn. And they get to see an in-depth view of it with the OV. So if I had to make a call on this one right now, I'd probably go Auburn. Ole Miss not out of it. Illinois certainly not out of it. I wouldn't count him out, but the intel does point more towards him staying in the SEC.
Yeah.
Well, and I think from a prioritization standpoint, when you look at Auburn's roster construction right now, they need 2 tight ends. So I think they're committed from a financial standpoint, from a resource standpoint. Hell, we can say this now from a revenue share standpoint. They are committed to probably having 2 tight ends in this class. So I don't think that Auburn's going to get surprised from a better deal. And if JC is truly interested in playing in the SEC and not staying closer to home in Illinois, which that's something I'm going to try to get more information on. I'm going to try to get a better feel for how serious is Illinois player here. How seriously does he consider playing for the home state team? And if he is still favoring coming to the SEC, I like Auburn's odds on that one.
I'll do 2. Let's see. Closing out the list, man. Eric Perry kind of came out of nowhere. I think we had heard his name, but it was kind of these, we heard a lot of guys in this tier 2 bracket that this second running back guy. I think he had picked up an offer from Auburn a couple of weeks before him. I think it was back in the spring. I think Derek Nix went and watched him.
Yes, in March. He got the offer in March.
There you go.
Derek Nix went to see him. I was told he ran like below 4.5 in front of him, like a 4.4. And he weighs about 195 pounds. Derek Nix goes, tools, man. Tools are there. So they took a shot on him, made an offer. He comes in for an unofficial visit in March. And measurements line up, everything lines up, and they're like, okay, where's the offers on this guy? And he's just not getting any offers because he plays quarterback. And it's an interesting situation. And it's a fair question that people on the corner ask, usually Big Sexy and August West.
Yeah.
So what does Auburn see? Of course, they ask questions that they already know the answers to. That's kind of their thing. What does Auburn see that other schools don't? That's a fair question, in my opinion, because there is not – I mean, Washington State hasn't even offered, but they're talking to him. Utah State's offered. And then you got like Sacramento State. The answer to that, after I've watched 3 of his full games and broken him down, is I'm not entirely sure. I like him, but I just don't know if he's – I don't know about him yet. Not sure what he projects as a straight running back. I'm just being honest, right? Love his speed. I like how he breaks tackles. I like his stature. I think he's a bigger kid than I realized.
I think on barefooted, he's 5'11", 190, and I was told sub 4.5, and then 10.8 was the 10.8 100. I mean, that's scooting.
Yeah,
and Alan, I think it was you. It may have been on the corner, but Booby Whitlow was mentioned.
Yeah, I did a kind of a comparison, and I see a lot of that there. You're talking about the best athlete on his high school roster. He plays quarterback because of that level of athleticism. Upright running style, good contact balance. I think he's got far more straight line speed and home run ability than Booby. Booby had a little bit more wiggle to him, better lateral agility. But it's a very similar concept in that you're trying to project from one position to another. Can you teach them to run behind their pads? Can you teach them some ball security, how to pass block, how to be a receiver? There are a lot of things there that you can see the natural athleticism on tape, and it pops a little bit. I'm with Cole, is that he's an offensive weapon. I'm not sold that he's necessarily a pure running back. But again, when Booby Whitlow came on, I wasn't sold he was running back either, and that's how Gus saw him. I think you have to lean into relationships and trust your eye on this kind of a recruitment. This is one of those where, you've got to really, really know what you're looking at. And I do think that the reason that Derek Nix is in on this kid is because he recruited the state of Mississippi for 17 years and has relationships with everybody up and down the coast there. That's why he's in on this kid when others are not. And I do believe he's probably going to get some more big offers now that Auburn has gone in, gotten him committed. I suspect there are going to be other Power 5 schools that are going to jump into the mix here. All that said, sometimes, and this doesn't need to be always, and it certainly doesn't need to be in every class, but occasionally at a position, because of where you lie on the recruiting board with your top end targets, you have to out-evaluate other schools. You just do. You have to have a Roger McCreary every now and again. You have to have a Daniel Thomas every now and again where you see something that somebody else doesn't see. That's just how it works. I made the point.
Caleb Harris.
Yes, Caleb Harris. I made the point. There is a wide receiver in the NFL for Georgia right now. 3-star white kid out of Tennessee. 5.5, right? Georgia liked him, saw something in him. Now he's playing in the NFL. And I'm not trying to make this comparison. What I'm saying is that occasionally, you have to trust your eye, trust your evaluation, believe in what you know to be a football player and that you can develop within your system. That is just the way it works. If you don't do that every now and again, you're really leaning on other people's evaluations and not your own. So I think this could be one of those kind of gems for Derek Nix. It's to be determined. And I can understand people's questions on this, right? Like he's a low.
I got him myself.
right. Is this who you really wanted to go in on this early? I think it's fair to be frustrated by that. But that doesn't change the fact that I have respect for Derek Nix for pushing for a guy he liked early, that he has personally scouted and evaluated. And we'll see how it all turns out. I mean, I think he has the makings, the athleticism to be a good player at Auburn.
I hear you.
Will he be? I don't know.
What do we know about this staff? They don't like to settle for anybody, for just anybody. They will go tooth and nail to the end for flips for guys that they believe they need to be in their class. You know, this ain't the Harsin regime where they're picking up guys like this because they believed in the evaluation and they do think they're smarter than everybody else because of that. That's not the case. It's interesting to me that they went ahead and, you know, got his commitment at this point in the cycle. And I think NIL has a lot to do with it. He doesn't have offers out there. So, you know, they're not going crazy on NIL for this guy. I'm just being honest. So what does that mean? They can continue to recruit their other running backs as if nothing happened. They're top targets.
Or I would say they can go into the portal because I think there's a likelihood that you may need a veteran running back. And this is not going to take away financial resources from what you might try to do there either. Because while I'm with you that it doesn't hurt you with your high-end high school targets, I still don't know that I like the position that Auburn is in with any of the three that we've declared their top of the board.
Completely agree. I think Cole wrote as much Monday afternoon. Cole, I thought you made the best point, and I reiterated on the corner. I think it was to an August West question. It was like, you're probably not paying anything for this kid. Like, he wants to be at Auburn. Like, please take me. I'll pay you $100 a month if you'll take me. So if you're going to take two running backs, Auburn's not going to spend 2 first-round draft picks on running backs this year.
Right.
Okay. So if you're going to get a Jay Lamar or a Xavier Crowell or a Derek Cooper, which I don't know that you are, but you've got to have those resources ready, you're not going to be able to take a second one.
No.
I mean, I guess you could, but the unlikelihood is very high.
Yeah, you're sacrificing in a different position if that's what you're going to do.
Right. Absolutely.
And I want to be clear. Eric Perry's my kind of guy. This is my kind of guy. I love these kind of guys. Auburn said, we want you. Hey, you know, now that we're on you, now that we've officially visited, you probably get some more offers. He goes, I don't care. I want in SEC. I think he said something to me too, where he was talking about Jeffrey, did he say he had a relative or something that played for Mississippi State, a cousin, and he thought that was the best he could ever do, and then Auburn comes in.
He was in.
What?
Auburn? Yeah.
So it's a great story. I love that part of it. I have questions about it. I hope I don't sound like I'm taking any kind of shots at the guy. I think he's a really good athlete. I think he's fast. That speed can get you a long way. When it comes to the Boobie Whitlow comparison, I think Whitlow had just a ton of what I would call backyard football ability, where he's comfortable. It's almost like he's not even in a game setting. Like, he's just messing around with people. This guy doesn't really play like that. He's more of I want to put my head down, use my speed. I'm not going to make you miss too much. That's where I have a small holdup, and I'm like, you know, that's kind of what you're dealing with your running back situation in Auburn now. And you want to try to get a guy that's a little more dynamic in that regard. But there's tools here. There's a lot to work with. Derek Nix believes in him. The kid wants to be at Auburn. You love that part of it. I think this is fine. I think it's a good pickup. I think that's a good way to go about it.
I agree. Let's see. Moving on to the current situation Auburn is in. Auburn has 7 guys on official visits as we speak. They arrived Tuesday, going to stay until Thursday. 2 5-star guys, the number 1 wide receiver in the country, and Tristan Keys. I think, let's see, number 3 tight end, Caden Prothrow. And then some DBs, man. Big DB group. Danny Odom, Craig Tutt, Travis Stevenson, Devontae Anderson, and TJ Umenyiora. That's what I said, Umenyiora.
Wasn't there a guy in the pros
That was his father.
Was it really?
What? You're kidding.
No, I am not.
What was
former
OC Umanure?
Former Troy Trojan, yes, sir.
Played for the Giants, right?
That is his dad.
He was an edge rusher, Jeffrey. If you didn't know who he was a baller.
Where did you say he went to school?
Troy.
Oh, really?
And then got drafted and played for the Giants for several years. He was a great edge rusher for them.
Yeah, at one point, I think when Omenori was a senior, DeMarcus Ware was a freshman at Troy.
I was about to say, was that about the same time period? But you've got him, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 DBs, and then your Tristan Keys and Caden Prothrow. So what do y'all make of this big? I mean, I think we've said this multiple times on this show. The DB room is just so fluid, right? I mean, the guys are popping up, falling off, popping up, falling off.
Yeah.
New names are coming in. New names are visiting. He's no longer visiting. You know, it's been. And listen, they have it on cue. Like they know what they're doing. We just don't have a good read on it.
Yeah, I don't have a good read at all, and I felt like they did a great job with the DB board last year. I mean, it felt like very quickly we knew what the picture was and kind of who the targets were that they wanted in the class. Now, they came up a little bit short on National Signing Day, but they still signed a phenomenal class from 2 4-star corners, top 10 safeties in the country. I also added an athlete in Devin Williams that unfortunately got injured, but somebody that has a lot of athleticism. So, really good defensive back class all the way around. And this one, I think you know who the safety targets are. Like you feel very comfortable about that part of it. But the cornerback board is really the one that's problematic for me and that I can't get a feel on it. But if we're talking about intriguing prospects, I think Travis Stevenson is the one. I've gone through the tape on all of these guys. Physical, well-built corner, good, better than I would have anticipated speed. The physicality to the jam at the line. He shows a lot of different techniques, good football IQ on tape. He's interesting to me.
Check out his OB list there, Jeffrey. Okay. It's pretty sporty if it's all in there.
I think it's Auburn, Georgia, Georgia Tech, and
Texas, Florida State.
Yes.
Georgia Tech and Georgia.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. He's still committed to Georgia Tech right now, but I would say that's probably on shaky ground.
I would think so, though Georgia Tech's done a better job under Brent Key as far as identifying and retaining talent. That said, Auburn had some success last year flipping Sam Turner from Georgia Tech.
Yep.
So this is one that I think if this is Wes's guy, this would make sense to me. I don't know as much about Danny Odom. Other than the fact that he seems to have a really good official visitor list as well. Central Florida prospect and somebody that shows good speed on tape, but I didn't really have an opportunity to break much down on him. I don't know much about the other guys either, other than Tut from a safety position. Now, he's a different one. He's not a corner. Tut is a very impressive safety target.
I think Danny Pitts likes him.
It shows a lot of range in the back end.
Danny Pitts gave us a thread last year from a game, which he's from Oakland, and they were playing against Ravenwood, which is where Donovan Starr was playing. And great thread where he kind of broke it down like I do when I go to games. It was awesome. And I've been liking Craig. His name was actually pitched to me early on as a guy that Auburn was going to go pretty crazy for in this cycle. It's weird that I haven't heard his name since then. That was like a year ago. Now here he is, coming to an official visit. I'd say hey, watch out maybe for Auburn here to make a move with Craig Tut.
Who would you say the major players are right now with Tennessee, Ole Miss? Is that what it looks like right now?
Ole Miss for sure. I think Ole Miss has done a great job with him and maybe even put itself in position for a commitment. But Auburn's going to have a say. I think Auburn's going to – listen, Auburn's been on this guy a lot longer than you realize. They really have.
Do you think it may have been, I guess, and I'm just trying to ask what maybe fans are thinking here if they're listening to us on the podcast, a transition from Charles Kelly to TJ Rushing, and maybe there was just some transitioning of other safety targets that they may be prioritizing differently. Could that have been the case as to why we haven't heard that name?
Maybe. That probably has something to do with it. I think it also, we're still kind of learning TJ Rushing's recruiting style. I think that plays a little bit into it. So all of those things. I think Auburn's been pretty consistent with this guy, though, believe it or not.
And then you've got Devontae Anderson, who I feel like I'm trying to think if he was a guy. Apparently not. I was thinking he was a guy that we saw last year, and I just didn't put much stock into it at the time because he was 2026.
I don't think he may have made it to a game or something, but I don't think we.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. But 6'1", 185. What's his visit list look like?
Michigan State and Auburn, I think, is the two officials.
Isn't he OVing to Florida as well?
I think he is, but I don't know if Florida is going to have room for him.
That makes sense.
Some intel that I've heard on that one is the same for Danny Odom, by the way.
I
think Florida's about to make some moves at DB and get some guys in the class, and both Odom and Anderson were guys that they have had on their lists, but I don't know if Florida's going to end up going with those guys. So,
so in addition to Auburn and Michigan State, Devontae has an official visit to Rutgers, or he just wrapped up an official visit to Rutgers. He also went to UCF, and he also went to Louisville.
Okay.
He's one of those guys to me. I love this guy's tape. I remember when we first added him to the OV list, I think he's pretty strong player, actually.
Auburn recruited a DB from West Orange not too long ago. He never played. I think he transferred. Wasn't very long ago, man. Who was it?
Got a pretty good track record of getting good DBs from the state of Florida. There's been plenty.
Was that where Woody Barrett was from? Was West Orange?
I believe it is.
I think that's who we're thinking about.
I believe you're right. It was somebody.
Woody Barrett. What a pull.
I think it was Woody Barrett that was down that way.
It sure was. West Orange High School.
Yeah.
We knowed it. Hey, let's well, I'll tell you what, the two top guys, let's talk a little bit about them before we take some questions from the corner. Starting off with 5-star wide receiver, the number one player in the country, or the number one wide receiver in the country, Mr. Tristan Keys with an E. Tristan with an E. How y'all feeling?
Keep chipping away,
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a big connection there with Deuce Knight being there. That's a good connection to have down the stretch of this recruitment, because I do think there's going to be a lot of twists and turns in his recruitment. Can LSU hold on? I don't know. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. There's going to be some shifts and all that going on with this one. So Auburn, keep chipping away. You got him on OV. You've had him several times on campus. That's the way I look at it. Does Auburn have a chance right now? No. Maybe in the end. We'll see.
I put him in the kind of the Manny Iheanacho bucket, if we're being honest.
Yeah, perfectly said.
Yeah.
Perfectly said. Tristan Keys. What about Caden Prothro now? I feel like Auburn was hoping to get through the Georgia visit he had, was it a week ago?
Yes.
And they did. Let's see. Who has he visited? He went to Georgia the 30th, went to Alabama this past weekend, coming to Auburn, going to Florida, and then Texas.
I truly believe with this one that if it weren't Georgia, it's Auburn. I think Auburn's running second in this recruitment. I don't think Auburn's going to get it done at this time of the year. Again, this is one you could see being different down the stretch, but a guy that Georgia wants, I'm just not counting that.
Okay. I see this one very similar to KJ Bolden. Okay. I think it's very possible that Caden Prothro commits to somebody else if he makes a commitment this summer. Okay. I think it may almost even be likely. I think come signing day, good luck not seeing him sign with Georgia.
Yeah.
I agree.
I've heard Florida being very involved with pro throw at times where I'm with you, Cole. I tend to lean that Auburn might be the other team, but I don't discount Florida either. I think those are probably the three teams I've heard the most about. Though Florida seems to have gotten traction with other tight ends, which maybe is why we discount them. I know they just got one commitment and they've got at least two other prospects that are very interested in jumping into their class. And do they want to jeopardize what may be a sure thing for something that you're going to have to recruit down to the wire in Caden Pro Throw? I don't know. That's an interesting case study for me as far as who's going to emerge. I don't have a lot of faith in that one sticking if he does commit to Auburn. I don't.
I agree.
I like it, man. And we're going to, I'll tell you what, while we're in it, let's just go ahead and preview this upcoming weekend real quick, because this visit list is going to change. It always does on our midweek show. But as of right now, Sedarian Morgan's scheduled to come in this weekend, 5-star wide receiver from Alabama, from Alex City. Braylon Womack, another big one, 5-star Xavier Crowell, 4-star Caden Harris. Big visit right here for Devin Carter and Shadarius Tootle and Denarius Gray. All three of those Auburn commits, you want to get them in here and you want to make them feel very, very special because they're all taking visits. Cooper Jaworski is still on the list, but that's the 8 we have coming in this weekend. Check back with Auburn Live on 3. Maybe Thursday we'll have a better looking list. And then, of course, on Friday it'll be pretty confirmed. I wanted to we want to get some questions, didn't we?
Yeah, let's do some questions and then let's go with Cole's exercise of made a move for out or in.
Okay. Carterman 427, gun to Allen Head, part 2. Give me y'all's D-line class for 2026 if National Signing Day was tomorrow. D-line class, Vodney Cleveland?
Yes, though I'm going to say on Vodney, I think when he commits in July, it's going to be to Florida.
Okay.
Or Texas.
It could be Texas. It very well could be Texas. My gut says Florida on that, and then watch for Auburn to make a move on signing day.
If I were making a pick, I would say Vodney to Florida right now. But Texas is it's funny. Those three are so in line when it comes to recruiting defensive linemen, is it?
Well,
how about your boy Sone?
No, he's not.
Okay.
He's not in my class. Caleb Morris is. I think they flip him from Mississippi State.
I like that one.
So I'm going to go Vodney Cleveland, Caleb Morris, and then give me Ernest Rankins.
How about you, Ernest Rankins?
Ooh.
Those are the three I'm going with. I say that because I don't know where Ernest is on Georgia's board. And I'm not trying to say that Auburn has to take Georgia's scraps, but I don't have a lot of confidence in anybody else. I know that obviously there's a big defensive end that just said we're tied with Alabama at the top. I don't know how much I trust that.
Yeah, Nolan Wilson.
Yeah.
I hear you. I think those are some good picks right there.
Nolan's one to watch for sure.
Ruby Sips, who are your 4 must-have recruits for this cycle, and why have these 4 separated from the others? What's a must-have? I mean, there's so many meanings. Is it position of need? Is it in-state guys you don't want to lose out on? Is it a Dalton Toothman?
I think Wilson Zaire for sure.
There you go.
All right, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I couldn't think of anybody, but that's perfect.
I think Jaquez is one.
I agree.
I think Jaquez Wilkes, Wilson Zaire, definitely on the top end for me. Jace Matthews, because I think you need another explosive playmaker in this class. He's must have for me.
All right. I'm going to give my usual here. Do y'all think Claude Puma's on this now?
Yes, I do. He was actually about to be the 4th one that I was going to say. And it's weird to not put a defensive lineman or a pass rusher in that group. But I feel like offensive line is that big in this class that you would put 2 tackles on your must-have list.
So if you don't get Puma, you're going to be disappointed.
Let me back up. If you're going that route, then it's definitely Wilson's year from that standpoint. I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's how I'm looking at it. Like must have, because if they don't get it, it's a black eye.
Yeah.
And I think Jack Wes Wilkes is one.
Yes.
I think Wilson Zaire is one. That's why I mentioned Dalton Toothman. I think Tristan Henderson or one of the our goon.
I'm not disappointed. And like I hear what you're saying on Toothman, but because of Cooper Jaworski, like I think that kid is as talented, if not more talented than Dalton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that one doesn't hurt me if you can land somebody else, land a substitute.
Any running backs? You said Jace Matthews at wide receiver. We talked offensive line, interior line. Are you looking at Deron Park? I mean, these are must-haves. Like to me, it's like, oh my gosh, that looks bad. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tank Jones. How bad does that look if you don't get him?
Not terrible, because I think everybody kind of picks him to Alabama. That's why I brought Toothman. Is I think everybody kind of leans toward him landing at Auburn, and with the needed offensive tackle, if he goes to Mississippi State or somewhere, it's going to look bad. Wilson's there. If he goes to Georgia, it's going to look bad.
Yeah.
Who else
I'll say this: Auburn hasn't owned Alabama on the trail, but they've certainly flipped the script to where when Auburn and Alabama are after somebody, it's more 50-50, or maybe even leans toward Auburn in the past 2 years for those kind of guys.
You don't just default Alabama.
So let's say that's been the case, and then this year, all of a sudden, Bama has the prowess over you again. And you let that get away from you?
What about one of Jira and Braylon?
I was thinking them.
Like, if you don't get one of them, is it a disappointment?
Yes.
Because of Braylon's sister, I think that maybe was.
Especially if he goes to like an Ohio State.
Hell, man. What if Jira Edwards goes to Alabama? Like that.
That's the plan. Commit to Alabama and flip after the Iron Bowl.
It wouldn't be the first time.
So, yeah, one of those for sure. Because I think Auburn has invested. I think TJ Rushing is that invested. I think Auburn is that committed. And those are two guys that are probably your best shot at getting a 5-star in this class. We know how this staff values the headline that comes with landing a premium player. And I'm not just saying that like they're just chasing him because of the stars, but I think that's an added bonus. They want an impact player in the back end, and I think they're their best shot at getting that player.
I think we explained the why, and I think the easiest answers there are Jacquez Wilkes. I mean, he is to me an absolute must-have.
That's
Like
him and Zierer are the top.
I agree. I think those two are in. You can make a case for several others to take those other two spots.
Yeah, I mean, I could make
for different reasons.
Right, I could make a case for Auburn commitments. Right, like Hezekiah. Sure. Like if you don't land Hezekiah Harris,
that's exactly right.
How bad does that?
Shadarius Tootle.
Yes, that was the other one I was getting ready to get to. You let him flip to Georgia. How bad does that look?
That's my 4 too. Those are my 4 right there. I believe must-haves. Man, you've got to keep Tootle. You've got to keep Hezekiah. Yeah. Especially after taking his brother. You've got to get Wilson Zaire, and you damn sure got to get Jacquez Wilkes.
Yeah, I think if you're talking must-haves, those are the must-haves in this class probably. From the standpoint of it looks bad, man.
Right.
If you don't land them, it looks bad.
Big disappointment. It's not like, oh, we can go get this other guy. It's like, oh, no. Whoever you get is not going to be this guy.
Man, since when these questions get so hard, man? God, they were not this hard earlier.
Well, WDE Mook. Where is Jira Edwards committing on July the 5th? If you had to guess right now. Not Auburn or Auburn?
Bama.
I know I said that Auburn, I put Auburn as the lead. I was a little ambitious last week. I would say Alabama or Georgia. And I did say I think Alabama was the main competition last week. I believe that to be true then. I think they're probably the leader now. But I don't discount Georgia either. I felt like Georgia made a pretty good impression on Jira as well.
Here's something else I think people need to consider when it comes to Auburn. Like we know a lot of schools, and I'm sure Auburn to some extent are paying for commitments. They're putting them on the stipend, monthly stipend to be committed. It almost feels like Auburn's more invested in the flip in the signing day.
I would tell you this.
If Auburn's not playing the pay to commit and pay to be committed as much as an Oregon is, or an Alabama, or whomever else is doing that, it almost makes more sense why some of these schools have a lot more commitments. It's just a theory. It's just a theory. So why not commit to one of those schools, continue to take your official visits, shut it down if you want to.
Hey, look at him.
And then make your decision, your real decision, in December.
I think there's some truth to what you're saying in that Auburn is very invested in the long play on a lot of these recruitments. I do think that is true.
And I'm not saying that's what's happening. It's a theory.
No, I mean, I think they realize in certain recruitments they're up against it. And so our best shot is just to stay relevant and stay in this recruitment, get them to visit as many times as they possibly can, and win some games this fall to make it feel as though Auburn has turned the corner. Mm-hmm. And again, let kids experience Auburn after a victory, not over La Monroe.
Right.
But more like what was experienced at Texas A&M, because you saw the atmosphere in Auburn after that victory and what it did for Auburn. It secured Deuce night. Let's be honest. If Auburn flops on that night, do you have a little bit of a different feeling about your quarterback situation going into signing day? I think I do. I think
he was not committed at that time.
He was committed. He was committed to Auburn.
That's the game he was like, let's talk. Because that dude had been the sick game before that and was like, I'm out, son.
Yeah. And then after that was the first game where he came out afterwards and was like embracing Auburn and this is where I want to be. Let's talk. Let's get this on the record. Mm-hmm. The demeanor changed, right? There was a shift because he was able to experience that atmosphere. And it was, it was one of those nights that you have to have as a winning program to get kids interested in wanting to stay with you beyond just the, hey, we've got immediate playing time.
POC right there. Speaking of my boy Dalton Toothman, Remy's got a question for him. As of today, do you still feel Dalton Toothman is in this class? Mississippi State insiders believe he's going to end up there, so I'm curious if any intel has changed. Your thoughts?
Well, that was the
Where do you think he is, Cole? Where do you think he is? Do you think he's a tier 1 guy for Auburn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For offensive line, yeah. Tier 1 guy. That was the school I was told was going to have a big say, was Mississippi State. I think Toothman and his camp are all about fit, and he fits pretty well with Mississippi State and Auburn.
Yeah.
And those are the two. I don't think Clemson's in it that much anymore. I don't think Florida State, even though they got an OV from him or had one scheduled, I don't see that one. There was one more. Ole Miss, I think, got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mississippi State and Auburn speak to him the most. Not actually like recruiting him, but speak to him. Like he is the most comfortable with those two.
Sure.
Agricultural guy.
Yeah. A lot like Spencer Dolan was a year ago. He was with Auburn. Mississippi State was his other school. At the end, he ends up going to Mississippi State. Auburn loves Dalton Toothman. You can see he's starting to get, Ole Miss, Florida State, all Clemson. There's a lot of schools that like him, like his upside, like his size, like his build, all of that. Auburn was on him pretty early, man. I have a pick in for Auburn. I'm not changing it. I think I'll just have to be wrong on that one if he goes to Mississippi State.
I can talk to somebody about Dalton Toothman. I can confirm 100% it is not Clemson.
Yeah.
I think Ole Miss is a little bit more in this than I initially anticipated. I wouldn't make them the favorite, but I think they're bunched up there with Auburn and Mississippi State. I think it's going to be, I don't know, man. I wouldn't call him a slam dunk to Auburn at this point.
Let's see. Oh, man, we were talking about this earlier. The cornerback class, Tigers Unlimited, predict Auburn's 2026 quarterback cornerback class if signing day were tomorrow. Is there anybody committed?
No.
That's like we said earlier in the show to you. That's the position that is the biggest mystery to all of us because there's been the change with the safeties coach. There's been a lot of new guys, a lot of new names, a lot of new visits. Hell, you think 2 weeks ago, every one of us would have had Preston Ashley in our class.
Well, not Cole, but you and I would have
At the nickel spot.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, and he didn't even have Auburn in his top 3.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I have no idea, to be honest with you.
I'm going to give you 2 names that are visiting this weekend. Let's go with Danny Odom and Travis Stevenson, and with just darts at a dartboard. I'm just going to randomly wing it and give you names that I have no idea if it's going to stick or not.
Is there one quarterback?
You know who has been on the fritz with Auburn? I think I just haven't heard about him at all. Been on the outs. I mean, not fritz. Zion Gibson.
Yeah,
dude.
On the outs or the ends?
On the outs.
I forgot all about that kid.
I mean, I thought Auburn was in it. He had visited a couple times, and
not a lot of traction there.
But I mean, can anybody name one cornerback? Oh, I tell you who I would put in there. I need to check back in with him. Don't forget about old Brody Jennings.
Yeah, I think the Florida schools are going to be tough to beat on that one, man. It feels like
he's the only one I could come up with that I thought. I was looking back over the visit list, going, well, whoever left and has some really good things to say, like who's even an option here?
Yeah, he had some really great things to say. I think Miami's going to be tough to beat for Brody Jennings in the end. It feels like, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Brody Jennings is more Auburn than I'm giving him credit for. But that's the only one we have. It's a true corner that I think you have. That we have any real information on that's visited, right?
Caden Harris, who was at Big Cat, or maybe he was at A-Day. Caden Harris, who's at A-Day. Now he's coming back. If I remember correctly, he's a Vandy commit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he should be flipping to Georgia soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit, man. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm trying to find somebody, and I just can't.
I'm with you, dude. That's what I'm saying. I'm going with the 2 random names that are going to be there this weekend. But I mean, to your credit, I do think that was Brody Jennings is somebody that's very interested in Auburn, and we'll see. Can they flip him from Michigan? Can they hold off Miami? I think those are the other 2 schools you're probably battling there for him.
And he's from Jacksonville, Florida. Mandarin. Okay.
I will say this. Do y'all remember the Brian Harsin, what's the guy's name? Tyree West story?
Yeah, where he
Tyre, Tyre.
Yeah. He came in for a visit during Iron Bowl week.
Yeah, and Harsin didn't let anybody visit with him.
They're like, hey, we got work to do. What are y'all doing?
What are y'all doing? Don't recruit him?
Yes.
Yeah, like, hey, get back to work on football, boys. We got a game to win. To their credit, they dang near did with TJ Finley at quarterback. But that was what you were dealing with on that. I would say this. If there were ever a time for Hugh Freeze and his crew to adopt that strategy, now's the time.
Season.
Yeah.
Now's the time. That's your best recruiting pitch. Go win.
Well, I think look at the number of OVs they're bringing in. I mean, they're stacking it. And this is the last weekend, and they've brought in, I don't know, more than 50, I feel like.
Had to.
Yeah, let me give you a count. By the way, Darrell Bell, the Florida State commitment, he was at A-Day. I don't remember him being at A-Day.
Was
he? Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I totally missed that.
I think there's some traction on that one for the nickel spot or for the star spot.
14.
I do.
28, 30.
Man, this show is tough, y'all.
38 plus 7 is 45 plus 9 over more than 50 OVs in the month of June. And that used to be your limit. Your limit used to be 54.
I thought we might get a question on this, and don't forget all the transfers that took OVs too.
Yeah.
it was asked to Justin and I on our live show today. Does it bother y'all that Auburn's potentially taking off that last open week again?
Hell no.
I don't know that necessarily matters. I understand the question because it makes it feel as though that you're behind the 8 ball now. Are you sacrificing an opportunity to get somebody in to create some momentum? And what I would say is that Auburn's not necessarily sacrificing a weekend because they started a weekend earlier than everybody else. There was nobody that was having official visit weekends on May the 15th, except for Auburn. So I think what they did is they decided to tweak the calendar some to play it to their advantage. And who realistically are you going to bring in on an OV that weekend that you haven't already brought in?
Right. That's the thing. They're doing these midweek visits in place of that visit that weekend. So they've got 15 midweek official visitors over the past 3 weeks. That a lot of those would have been June the 20th. So you get all those done, and you don't have to worry about it.
The only one that I can think of that it might have been to some benefit to Auburn would be to have brought in Caleb Morris. I think he's currently committed to Mississippi State, but maybe it's better to let him wait and visit during the season. Come and see Auburn for a game. Maybe that's a better sell atmosphere for him. But as far as top targets go, I feel like Caleb with a K. I feel like Auburn has done as good a job as they can with getting everybody on campus that they really have interest in at this point, minus maybe one other running back candidate.
Yeah,
I would like to see them develop that board a little bit better. I know they plan on taking 2. If you're in the position that I think you are with your top 3, having seen like a Carson Baker or somebody of that nature come in would have made a lot of sense to me.
Completely agree on that.
I think Carson Baker might be turning into the Gators right now.
Freaking Keith, man. Can't take him anywhere.
No, him and his jorts.
All right, Cole, what you got for us this week, big dog?
All right, you want to do the same thing we did with the last?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Weekend. Let me pull it up real quick.
Remind me of my options.
All right, your options are Auburn is potentially in the lead for.
Okay.
Auburn made a move with, or the way I phrase it, Auburn helped itself with, or not feeling it.
Okay.
And then, of course, explain your answer.
Right.
So I'm counting the midweeks too. Preston
from
Carey.
last week.
Yeah.
From last week. Okay. Not feeling it.
Not feeling it.
Well, who was it again? I'm sorry.
Preston Carey.
No, not. Well, hold on. I'm going to go made a move for.
That's fair.
Okay. All right. Emmanuel Iheanacho.
Made a move for.
Made a move for. Still don't think he signs with Auburn.
Yeah, not feeling it. That's where I'm at too. All right, here's an interesting one. Nolan Wilson.
Made a move for sure.
Could you quantify putting him in potentially in the lead 4 category, Jeffrey? Because I considered it.
No, I do too. One of the top 2 options is what I'm looking at.
I'd say it definitely helped itself, and I considered putting in potentially leads 4, but I do think Alabama's going to be hard to beat. But I think that one could go a lot of ways before it's over. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm not potentially lead 4. I'm not there yet.
But I do think made a move for. I mean, I don't think you can walk away reading that exit interview and think you didn't make a move for that young man.
For sure.
Dude,
he said they did.
You know how I hope if Nolan watches this, I mean this as a compliment because I'm a huge Jameis Winston fan. You know how Jameis, when he gives an interview or something, he has he gets into it.
Yeah.
He's very serious about what he's saying. That's exactly how Nolan was, man. Almost
really?
expressions almost lined up when he's talking about Auburn. It's a family place, man. It's great. It's great. It's like the whole time through that interview he was doing
a little dramatic in a good way.
Yeah, very animated about it.
Animated. There you go. Better word.
Very animated. And just happy. Just a happy dude. I'm just like, dude, I could interview you all day, man. This is great. And we did. We talked to him for like 10 minutes, which is the longest exit interview I've ever done after an OB. But when I get the feeling when he says Auburn's up there with Alabama, he means it. And before that official visit, those are the two teams I'd heard. I think I put that in something on the board a few weeks ago. Auburn, Alabama. Good source told me that. I'm sticking with that. I think those are the two to beat right now. All right.
Okay.
Eric Perry committed.
Yep.
Xavier Tiller.
Lead 4.
Lead 4, for sure.
Lead 4. I agree. Claude Puma.
Potentially lead 4.
Made a move 4.
Claude Puma.
Made a move 4. Yeah.
I'm going to say potentially leads 4.
Okay.
That's the category I have him in as well. I also have Marquez Daniel in that category, but right now I'm thinking
I'm going to put him in the made a move 4, but because he's in the Auburn's in the top 2. But I'm with you. I think that if he decides today to commit, that it's to Florida and not to Auburn.
I'm going to say potentially leads 4.
I like it. Good for you, Jeff.
It's either Florida or Auburn. I feel pretty comfortable in that, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, the potential's there.
All right. Corey Wells committed to Texas. So
he would have been a made a move 4 anyways. Like he left. He was like, yeah, Auburn's like number 2.
Okay.
Yep.
J.C. Anderson.
Potentially leads 4.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to go leads 4.
Okay. I agree. And then finally, Jace Matthews.
Potentially leads 4.
I agree.
I agree with that. Though that could get interesting. I think Texas A&M is going to be really tough in that one. I think they're committed to trying to get him in that class.
He's from Mississippi.
He is, which means Ole Miss will be involved as well. They do a really good job with in-state recruits as far as trying to get them to stay home. I agree with what Chad Simmons wrote, though, and I think Cole's been on this for a while now. Texas A&M is probably the other team to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anybody got is that Cole?
Yep, that's it.
How about you? Anybody have any hibachies? We're coming off a week of North Georgia Tiger, the first ever Grand Salami.
Yeah.
Of hibachies.
I have 4.
Oh,
okay.
Yep. Y'all want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Knock it out.
AU Mike BK.
Oh, good one.
I think you liked the same post, Jeffrey, when your quick notes on the weekend OVs thread, which blew up. People talking about Iheanacho coming, or I can't remember exactly what the context was, but AU Mike PK was like, the same folks that are complaining right now would complain if we did not have 5-star tackles visiting.
That's a Mike BK. Anytime somebody gives a how about you to Mike BK, it's a times 2 for me. Yeah.
J Wade 34.
Yeah.
I thought he had a great point in the post I made about Chris Lowe's article that he did with Hugh Freeze, talking about the situation for Thorne last year versus Arnold's situation coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great point on that. So, voice of reason, I guess, this week for J Wade 34. All right, here's your guy, Jeffrey. Cam and Cheese.
Cam and Cheese is on a roll, son.
He got me. He got me with this one. This was funny now.
He's an underrated poster, I'm telling you.
Yeah. In that same article where Hugh Freeze told Chris Lowe, Peyton's situation sucked, basically.
Yeah.
Cam and Cheese was like, yes, that's true. But Peyton Thorne had a unique ability to make me mad at him when it was someone else's fault.
He did have that quality, didn't he?
I thought that was pretty funny. And then Millwood gave me some intel.
And if I'm not mistaken, how about you to Millwood times 2? I think he lost his dog.
Did he?
Oh, yeah, he's the one.
Yeah, to make that a times 3 for them, please.
Triple.
All right, Mr. Allen Ed.
I've just got 2. The first one is Jimmy Sexton in Cole's thread about Marquez Daniel. He puts the meme up of the guy swallowing the shotgun. And then Aces full 1.
I like
Aces full.
Yeah.
I like Aces. Are you referring to his band bet?
Yes. Here, let me read this for those that watch the show that aren't on the corner. Band bet are taking all band bets. We will have a top 10 class on signing day, or at Jeffrey Lee puts me in the gulag until toe meets leather in 2026.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough right there. Brave.
Oh, well, I'll give Mike BK, Millwood, and then a Knight Rider.
Well, that's one of my favorites, man. Knight Rider.
Cole asked about the face mask.
Y'all gonna have to help me on this.
What did I posted this picture?
Oh,
What did I do on that one? I missed the inside joke on that one, Jeffrey.
It's just him being frustrated with talking about the face mask.
Yes.
Okay.
Like,
We talked about that a lot. Did I miss something on that?
That's it. It's just like, here we go again. Like,
Yeah, we're talking face mask.
I didn't put that over sweatshirt on. I thought it was hilarious.
Is that the
how about you?
Is that the Ben Affleck one? Yeah.
It's Ben Affleck, yeah.
Yeah. You think it's worse with J-Lo and Ben, or with Bill Belichick in his situation? Like,
That's embarrassing.
Who do you think needs to smoke more?
That's crazy, man. That whole thing.
Man, I feel sorry for him.
I don't.
I've lost some respect for him.
I've definitely lost some respect for him.
I mean, he's what, 74, 75, and he's got this chick, and it's like, dude, she has got you.
Yes.
It can't be that good.
No. I mean, his net worth can be, but
yeah, that's what you meant, right?
Yeah.
It certainly ain't the motion of the ocean, baby. I promise you that.
Listen, America. There are cheaper options, Bill. Let's see here. All right, that's going to wrap it up, man. What a long and
can I throw one more in there?
Yeah.
Crab Island.
Hey, ×2, because ×2 for that one.
On the bad recruiting news, he said, but did they get to take a picture in front of the clouds?
Oh, what is going on?
That's pretty bad, guys. And Mark Me Down is not a fan of any OV photo shoot. I don't care for all that, but clouds is pretty simple. I mean,
I cannot believe it took me to bring light to the situation. Like, why had nobody noticed that before me? Like, I've been waiting for like 2 weeks for somebody to bring that up, and I was like, okay, I can't take it anymore. After I saw organs, I was like, you got to be kidding me, dude.
I don't do a whole lot of Twitter. I'd have to imagine this getting roasted on Twitter, right?
And yes, and then Alan reminds me of what the Brian Harsin, and it's still not that bad. It's nothing will ever be that bad. Nothing. That was awful. The RIP jersey,
yes.
That was awful.
Dude, that was my avatar for a long time.
But this one is absolutely second worst.
It's pretty bad.
Yes, Zach said it looked like the background from my first grade class. Holy cow.
Zach, as somebody who has a son that just graduated from kindergarten, confirmed wholeheartedly that is 100% what you would see in a background graduation.
Or it looks like a graduation, or like they had a play.
Yes. I pray y'all get like a text from inside the complex that says, we're going to fix this.
I'm still like, I want to know, well, that's got to be something. Is it like, surely nobody was like, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's got to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to play off the background of, the Soldier movie or whatever it is. What is that? Is that a video game background? Like, what's going on? Like, what is that?
Maybe that's where our $20.5 million went.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well,
Photo shoot budget out the door, baby.
my goodness. And the other ones are, I mean, they're decent, right? I mean, the barbershop, the
Yeah.
retro look, that looks good. That's fine. Is at least comparable to other teams.
Sure. Yeah.
The blue sky and the clouds, like what in the hell? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Please help me.
You know
Nobody
what?
has.
Do you think if a program hosted all these OVs like this, and it was a program of Auburn stature, and they said, "Hey guys, we don't do the OV thing. We don't do the photo shoot thing." Do you think they'd lose guys over that?
Lose guys? No.
Yeah, no.
Do I think it would?
There wouldn't be as much buzz coming out.
I just, you know how I feel about it.
I know you do. I know it's not a you thing. It's a kid thing for sure, man. Because they make graphics with this stuff and everything else. Like I do think it would be detrimental in a small degree to not do it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they have no choice and they got to figure something out. And it almost to me looks like they're like, dang it, we need one more. Somebody go put some fuzz on the blue wall.
That's not good.
No, I'm with you, man. You know what? Put that capital J journalism to work this weekend, Jeffrey. See if you can't get an answer on that.
I'm on the beat, son.
I hear you.
I'm on the beat.
I am actually going to be waiting on that response for the call-in show. I want you to break that one.
Before Sunday, I will have you an explanation.
Okay. I like it.
You write that down. All right, folks, let's end it right there, man. A lot to digest, a lot to come, man. We've got official visitors leaving on Thursday. A couple of those 5-stars we talked about earlier. This weekend is going to be another big weekend for Auburn. We're going to be back Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. Don't forget about Roback and their big time deal for first time new customers. Use a promo code Auburn20 on Roback.com for generous 20% off for all new customers. RHOBACK.com, 20% off for all performance, polos, shorts, and more with the promo code Auburn20. All right, folks, that's going to do it, man. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody watching. For Cole, for Alan Head, for Zach in the back who stayed in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay at that left lane. See you.